This is Randy Kincaid. I'm here with Joe Kincaid celebrating his 80th birthday. And we're having a big gathering here with family. And I just wanted to ask Joe some questions about things that had happened back in the past. And Joe, say hello to the camera here for us.
Well, I tell you, this was really a big surprise, and I appreciate everybody coming out. I really bit this hook, line, and sinker and took it for a ride.
All right, Joe, let's talk about some of the early years of your life. Could you just tell me, what was the worst whipping that you ever got, and what was it for?
I don't know, the worst whipping was probably with a hairbrush by my mother, but I don't know what it's for. Probably telling her a story.
You didn't ever do that much bad then? Do you remember? What was the meanest thing that you ever did to your sister Jane?
Well, there's no telling what I done to Sister Jane, but I don't remember too many mean things.
Who was the first girl you ever kissed?
I really wouldn't know.
Joe, in your old age, are you getting Alzheimer's? When did you learn how to drive a car?
Starting in the barnyard, driving a tractor, pulling a, what do you call it, a cow paddy wagon. Granddad used to put me on the tractor, and I'd pull it around, and everybody else throwing cow patties across the trailer to each other. But I didn't learn to drive a car probably 15 years old.
Okay, well, what was the biggest fish that you ever caught?
I don't know. I've been here all my life, and probably a 2 or 3 pound bass, the biggest fish I ever caught.
Where was that?
Probably out at Kissimmee Lake.
Well, I heard you spent a lot of time in the cloakroom. We were talking about that earlier. Were you a pretty good student? Did you make pretty good grades in school?
If you call C's and D's good grades, they were good grades to me. The only thing I remember when I got hit the 9th grade in high school, the teacher, Mrs. Hayes, you probably remember, and first she started calling the roll, and Joe Kincaid, are you any kin to Cecil? I said, yes, ma'am. Well, I've got a D and straight F's all the way across that page, and I always wondered what Cecil was like in high school. I always blamed my grades on him, on Mrs. Hayes.
Your dad and my dad were brothers, and your dad ran the creamery in Lake Wales. Did you ever help deliver any of that milk?
Oh, yes. I used to get up before I even learned how to drive. Whenever all the older boys, brothers, and whatever went to service, well, I'd get up with Dad probably like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. We'd be on a route, and luckily we'd get through and get to school by 8 o'clock. If not, we always had, if you was late, Brother Spence would give you study hall in the afternoon about 30 minutes to an hour. The Yana boys were the same thing. They had the sand mine, and they would have to go to Westlake Wales and shovel sand off of cars that was overweight, and then they would get in school late. But that's the way it was. When
you were working in the milk routes there, did you ever get bit by a dog?
No, I never did get bit by a dog in the milk route. I run into a clothesline every now and then. I run into, like I said, on that croquet set. Coming down out of a yard, I just happened to have empty bottles in my hand, and luckily none of them broke. I'd hit one ring and get up and hit another one. And
she went to work over at the Donald Duck Citrus, wasn't it?
Right.
And what was your job over there?
I started off in quality control there, testing juice.
And then you worked down at Ben Hill Griffin and Frostproof?
Ben Hill for 10 years with Ben Hill, and he sold out to Procter & Gamble. I worked 5 years with them as setting up their tank farms, receiving and shipping concentrates. And
now that you've started a professional golf career, tell me a little bit about some of your successes on the golf course.
Oh, I grew up out here on this Lake Wales course, country club, which I won a few little tournaments.
I got a question for you, Uncle Joe.
Who are you?
I'm Marietta. I'm Cecil, his brother's oldest child. I got a question for you, Uncle Joe. When you retired, you said you were going to play every golf course in Florida. Have you done that yet?
I'm still working on it.
I tell you what, Joe, you're amazing to me because it just seems like you just never get old. I mean, I picture you now just as you did when I was 15, 16 years old. You look the same to me. I don't think you've changed a bit. Hey,
I remember a lot of things about your dad too, y'all's dad, and I remember Brother Cecil. I've been up to the dairy there when your dad had the processing part, and here come Cecil out the door, and here come Ray behind him, chasing him up towards the hotel. And one time I cow hunted with Sam Keene one day with Ralph Smith, and we found his potholes back on Kissimmee Lake. So I told Cecil and Brother Cecil and Ray. So Ray took us out there, and we went through the cow pen there at Sam's. And as soon as we got out the little wet area out there, you know how your dad drove. He said a car was made to drive, and we hit the slick marshy area out there, and I don't know how many times that car turned around. And then we went on fishing. And what is Kiwanis Park now? They had a little course there, wasn't it? And Uncle Ray had an old, I think it was a Buick convertible, probably a 36 or something. And I remember going down there, and they'd race them old relic cars around that track, and this before the war. And one day Ray let Leo drive that in the grove. Well, we went through the North Valencia Grove and run into Parker's Grove. Parker's back there had to. Here come Leo, got down about the end of the road, and Ray said, put on the brakes, and he hit the gas and tore up the last tree that plowed that tree up.
I think that was when they made that, took the engine out of that car and put it in the pump there to pump water for the groves. Well, Joe, I tell you, this has been great having us get together here, and certainly enjoyed being here and being a part of your 80th birthday.
Well, I enjoy it because y'all really pulled the wool over my eyes on this one, and thanks to everybody had something to do with it and keeping it hid.